And welcome back to the Japan Game Junk podcast. And today, going to talk about a hard off in Togane city of Chiba. This one is actually called, what is this? Just a moment here, let me get my note. The Chiba Naruto store. But it's really just, it's Togane. And it has a combination hard off, hobby off, and it's pretty new. It was opened less than a year ago. I believe actually in February, I was here on its opening, and it was very, very crowded. Then going back here on August 23rd of 2024 to see how it's been going along. First thing I noticed was that the mini consoles, the PlayStation Classic, the small PlayStation, which used to be very much laughed at because of its poor quality of included titles, and then became very unpopular and was sold off very cheaply when I got mine. And then, thanks to some hacking things you can buy from China, or make them yourself or whatever, they become a really, really, really great PlayStation emulation console. And so they got back popular again. Here, though, is the cheapest I've seen in some time, back at its original price of 5,000 yen, as it was when it was released. Also a very interesting game, Vermilion Desert for Dreamcast. It's one I haven't seen very often. And so it's probably going to be a bit sought after for people on their collection. But yeah, Vermilion Desert for the Dreamcast, 3,000 yen at this store. Guardian Heroes, the classic Saturn game, which some people don't bother to get because it's been re-released in, later, the compilations. So much, but here it's 5,000 yen, also a bit cheaper than I've seen elsewhere. Magical Drop for Saturn, with its haunting CG cover art. It was 1,000 yen, and if I had not already bought it at a different hard off for 500 yen a little bit of time before that, maybe less than a week before that, I would have gotten this. It was just a strange coincidence to see these two that game at these two stores, and I was lucky to get it at the cheaper one. Although the one that I got did not have the Obi strip this one appears to but for 500 yen, do you really want that strip of paper? Maybe you do. There was a Desk One 1X Player Mini, which is basically a Steam Deck clone, and it looks really, really powerful, actually. I was surprised to see the power of this machine running Windows 11 it's 63,000 yen. Now, if I had that much money that I wanted to buy a computer with, I would, of course, get a desktop, and I would really want to make it as powerful as I could. Just, get the most for my money power-wise. I don't need it to be portable like in a Steam Deck or whatever, but still it looks pretty nice, and yeah, it was a very powerful machine for what it was. Okay, next up here was the original soundtrack to Ghost Trick from Capcom, just a CD, for 9,000 yen. I guess it was rare. Oh well. The Pokemon Channel box set, which until very recently in Japan was being hawked off everywhere for 100 yen. This one, it looks pretty, but yeah, it's all the way up to 5,000 yen at this hard off. Some stuff just suddenly randomly gets more expensive when it was randomly cheap before. Oh well. And speaking of Pokemon, the Pokemon-themed orange Nintendo 64 with the big Pikachu on it, with the matching controller, without even the box or anything, was, 36,000 yen. I was surprised. I've seen them for less than 10,000 yen even just a few years ago. How things pop up. And right beside it, even more expensive for 50,000 yen, was just the old fat Nintendo DS. This one is the Pokepark 2005 rare version. It was only at the Pokepark. I don't know if that was a store or a rotating sales carnival kind of thing, but yeah, it was indeed a rare item. It's blue and it has a little shadow of a Pikachu there on the top right next to the top screen. More expensive was the boxed Game Boy Color from the let me get my notes here. What does this say? From it doesn't say where it's from, but it does say that Only 30,000 were made of this one. Anyway, it's the Game Boy Color that has all the Pokemon on it. And it was sold at some sort of Pokemon store of some type. That was 90,000 yen. All boxed looking nice. Below that, in a terrible box that looks like it's been through a washing machine. Although the game itself, the game system itself looks good, is the original Game Boy Advance. This is the Pokemon Center. This is the Cerebic Green. Therapy Green? I don't know. There's some sort of green water Pokemon on the front, and the machine itself also is that rare color. It was sold at the Nintendo stores only, and it's so it's a rare item now, but this box looks like it was eaten by a dog and then went through its digestive tract and was released out, and then that's what it looks like. They also had at the store an Epoch for 8,000 yen, Epoch retro game system, the System 10. It's a typical, Pong system, has various simple games on there. But Epoch is Epoch, E-P-O-C-H, is an interesting company making lots of fun stuff back in the day, so I'm sure it was of good quality. Also, the Super Note Club Mew, the Teens Time. This is the older kids version design of the Super Note Club. I do have a Super Note Club and quite a few games for it. It's just like a hobby computer for little kids, it had games on it and stuff. And yeah, this one is kind of the rarer older kid version. But it said that the battery compartment was all rusted out and only the AC adapter will work and it might turn off sometimes. So I didn't bother to get it, even though I don't have that. And then the find of the day was, for the Dreamcast, a Godzilla branded VMU unit, the memory card with a screen, and it was only 300 yen. It was just put on the shelf by the worker, and so I snagged it. Usually it goes for about 5,000, and and even it has the cap on it. Some of them don't even have the cap on it. And I was so happy to see it, so happy to see this, and I picked it up, and even the original memory was on there. So you can have the baby Godzilla raising game on there like your Tamagotchi. Truly a great find for 300 yen. Don't bother trying to find it, I already got it. Also for 100 yen was the Grand Theft Auto 5 for PS3. Now I already had it for Xbox One and the upgrade to Xbox Series X and the PS4 and the actually I already had the Xbox 360 one also. So I got this one as well, disc only for 100 yen, just to have the all complete Grand Theft Auto 5 collection, and perhaps someday soon I will play them all in one video and compare them. Also for 100 yen was Heavenly Sword, one of the launch titles I believe for the PS3 here, and it's a pretty nice game. 100 yen disc only. And what was weird was there was Diablo for PC, Windows 95, but opening the case, it had, in this jewel case, 2 discs, the install disc and the play disc of Diablo 2. For some reason, someone stuck Diablo 2 in the Diablo 1 case and sold it off to Hard Off, and well, I just picked it up for 100 yen just to have it. Also, this Hard Off, this has nothing to do with games, but they have a huge selection of CDs. No jewel case. I'm sure that the previous owner just had this big sleeve, where you put your CD and your info booklet in the case or whatever. And they have a huge, sorry for the weird yawn there, huge collection of CDs from the mid-90s to the mid-2000s, perfect for my high school and college years. You got your electronica, you got some some REM, you got some dance music and all sorts of stuff there. So if you're looking for some nostalgic CDs from that era, you want to go to this Hard Off. And I saw the ubiquitous 1,000 yen Sega Saturn steering wheel. That thing is everywhere. I saw a twin Famicom from Sharp. This is the black version. It even still had the disc protection cardboard disc in the disc drive. Unfortunately, though, it said the disc drive does not work, so it was a 10,000 yen only. And a complete, perfect-looking box of Virtua Fighter Kids for the Game Gear. And in Japan, it was marketed as Kids Gear. Some of the games they released try to appeal to kids more than adults. Anyway, Virtua Fighter Kids for the Game Gear, which, it's a pretty good game. 4,000 yen, which is actually an incredibly good price for the complete boxed version that looks very nice there. They also have a bunch of figures there for 1,000 yen, all your Idol Master and other games and anime stuff, so yeah, you get that. And I was surprised to see a used game for the Bang Busters, I think it's called, for Dreamcast. It was actually a recently released game of the last year or so, and someone bought it and actually sold it back to the used game shop. So that was interesting. And the last thing of note was VR Racing, Virtual Racing Deluxe for the 32X, boxed for only 2,000 yen, which can be incredibly cheap, I believe. But this was everything found on this day at that Hard-Off store, and it's well worth a visit, again, if you're in the area. Perhaps if you're going to Togane for the Kanteidan I mentioned in the previous episode, and also you'll be going from here to somewhere else in that area. Maybe you stop by here also. Anyway, still don't think it's worth a drive here if you have a limited time in Japan or you're using a rental car. But if you have your own car and you just want to come to this area to enjoy it, then come on out and see the stuff in the Hard-Off. Thanks so much for watching. And if you're watching, then it's weird because this is audio only. But thanks so much for listening, and have a great day.